The four accounts are named after their writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Each gives the story of Jesus' life and deeds from the beginning to the end. They describe in detail where Jesus went and what he said. Reading through these accounts, it becomes clear that Jesus was not a floating personality. In the first place, he was simply a Jew, part of the Jewish culture who had his feet firm on the soil of ancient Israel. Although Jesus never ventured out of Israel himself, the story of his life could spread fast because the nation was the intersection of many major trading routes. So when we try to answer who Jesus himself thought he was, the first thing we see is that he thought of himself as a prophet. He spoke of himself as a prophet, and others referred to him as a prophet, and he didn't correct them. Prophets weren't new in ancient Jewish history. There had been scores of prophets all the way back through the nation's tumultuous history. The ancient speakers often lived lives without riches and had the task to speak truth to the people. In the past, when Israel was a nomadic nation, prophets arose to lead the people into a new direction. Some prophets had messages meant to correct the nation and were unpopular during their lives, or even killed for it. It was a dangerous profession. On top of that, if a prophet turned out to make a prophecy that did not come true, this lying prophet was to be put to death. In short, nobody would play around calling themselves a prophet for no reason. There'd be serious consequences in that time. Every prophet had a message, and so did Jesus. His main message was to announce the kingdom of God. In many stories and illustrations, he told the people that the kingdom of God was arriving, not in a week or a year, but it was already in the process of arriving, right then and there, that very moment. He showed that the kingdom of God had arrived by doing miraculous signs, such as healing people from diseases. But he also showed it through unconventional symbolic signs, such as feasting. He was celebrating that the kingdom of God had come. His joyful actions puzzled some, whose idea of a prophet was for one to be strict and stern and warn people with stories of doom. The stories of this miracle-making man with his new message sent shockwaves through the ancient civilization. In no time, the common man flocked towards him, the religious challenged him in open debates, and the royal feared him. It wasn't just his popularity they were afraid of, it was a religious prophecy that made them nervous about this Jesus. This prophecy had implications that would go much farther than mere religion. Knowing this prophecy helps us discover the next thing Jesus thought of himself and his message. Let's look at that next.